North Carolina vinyl picker here on a Saturday. I got some new finds to show you. Went to an antique mall today, and then went over to Habitat for Humanity and stopped at Goodwill. Nothing there at the GW. And then I got a couple records the other day. So got a few things starting to get back out there and checking out the stores. I thought I'd give it a couple week break, and it paid off. So let me show you that stuff here in just a minute. But at the end of the video, if you like what you see, hit the subscribe button and hit the like, and that helps me grow my channel. Up over 360 subs, so I'm cruising towards 400. That's monumental. I never thought I'd get to 100, let alone 400. But I'm moving that way. And then tomorrow night, I'm going to have a special show that I'm going to go ahead and show my show some of these. And what these are MoFis. And then I'm going to show some of these half-speed masters. And then some of these super discs. And we're going to go through the ones that I have. We're going to go through them one by one, and I'm going to tell you whether or not they're digital or they're analog. It's the only ones I could find in my collection. Now I'm not someone who spends a lot of money on records. I don't tend to buy these, pay a lot of money for them. So some of these I found in record shows, and some of these I've found in thrift stores and antique malls. So I didn't pay much for them. And I don't think I paid more than $5 for any of these. These are some quad discs. And so I pulled out supposedly the best of the best of what the sound's supposed to be, the sound, excluding all my Steven Wilson remasters. But you know those are digital. So are any of these here analog? We're going to find out. We're going to get down to the nitty gritty of what my collection is, and find out whether or not I have analog records or digital records. So let's get going here. There's only like 12 things there, so it won't take long. And then I'll show another fresh 50 tomorrow. But we're into the ends on that, and then we're cruising right to the end here. I think I'll be done in another week or so, and we'll wrap this up. So I got 5 or 6 shows lined up to get going. So we got to get this other project finished up. We've been at it for 18 days. So this will be number 18 show today. And I think I've shown 18 shows in 25 days or 23 days, something like that. So we're getting it done. How about these? I found Billy Joel, the nylon curtain, for $2. And it looks perfect and plays nice. It's another Billy Joel album I don't have on vinyl. I do now. I had it on CD. I like all of Billy Joel's records. Found this one, Chicago 7. With the time strip. I wasn't going to leave this behind. I wasn't thinking I was going to get all the way up to number 7 Chicago album, but I remember having this one back when I was in high school. So it's nice to get this one back into the collection, and it's in really nice shape. And for $2, I wasn't going to leave it behind. And a couple other things I found. Found this here. But it doesn't have the record in it, so it doesn't do me much good. There was a different record in here. I think it was a Dexter Gordon record. So I kept the record, and I kept the John Coltrane cover, and someday maybe I'll find the record to this and the Dexter Gordon jacket for the record. So found those yesterday too. I'll put that down here with these here for now. So here's the ones I found today. Now, Michael Parks, anybody of a certain age would know. Mazzy, you probably know who he is, and Harry. There's a few other people out there that are right up there with me. He had a show on NBC in 1969, 1970. So I know a lot of you kids out there weren't even born then. But I know some of you guys were, like Tony. Yeah, you were there. You probably remember Michael. So Michael Parks, here's one of his albums. And I didn't know what kind of music he sang. I didn't look him up or anything. I seen him at the Habitat today. And they're buy a record, get 2 free. So each record costs $1. And then they give you 2 free. So they're basically they're just giving them away. So I get down there as often as I can. But I hadn't been there in a couple weeks. So when I went there today, I found 10 of them. And I paid $3.82 with my military discount. I was able to get it even cheaper. So anyway, here's Michael Parks. We're listening to another one of his albums. This is it here. I don't think I'm going to get a strike for Michael Parks, but there he is there in this. Then came Bronson. So he was a rebel who rode his motorcycle around the country, being a do-gooder and helping people out. That's what I remember. Now, if anybody else remembers the show more than that, because I was only, what was I, about 12 years old when the show was on. So there you go. That's all we're going to talk about Michael Parks for today. And then how about this album? I didn't want to leave this one behind. I've never heard the album. I don't know if I've ever heard any of Robert Cray, but this is a promo. And like I said, I got all 10 of these for $3.82. So do the math and you can figure out what I paid for this. It wasn't much. Was it about 38 cents? Something like that. I'll put this down here. And I don't have a Laserdisc player anymore. But I am going to be selling a bunch of records come the fall. Once the leaves start to fall and the temperature drops, I'm going to get a little table up there at the local flea market and I'm going to sell some records. So right now I'm going through all of my records, and that's one reason why I'm going through them all, is to separate out the ones I want to sell. So a lot of the ones I'm going to sell I picked up in Habitat, Humanity, and Goodwill and stuff like that. And I've given a lot of them away. And the big boxes and VCLT, I've given away a lot of these records over the last year. And next month I go over 1 year in the VC. I'm doing shows. I've been watching the VC for about 2 or 3 years. But Rachel got me started, and Mazzy and all them guys and girls, they all been helping me out. Return to Waterloo, a film by Ray Davies. So check that out. And I paid, 35 cents for this. And I don't know, but I think I heard Mazzy talk about this one time. It was a terrible movie or something, but the soundtrack was pretty good. Correct me, Maz, if you watch my videos and tell me what you think. It's a Laserdisc. They had it with the records, and I saw Ray Davies, and he's the man behind the Kinks. So him and his brother, I believe. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Found that. I found this. I seen the guy's name, Bruce Cockburn, called Democracy. Come to find out, he's Canadian, and he's made lots of records up in Canada. I never heard of the guy. I thought maybe he was one of those guys from the UK during the 80s music and stuff, but apparently I was wrong. Wrong again. So yeah, so Bruce Cockburn. This will definitely go in probably the sale. See if I can recoup my 38 cents there. How about Victory at Sea? I have currently, I think, 62 Victory at Sea albums, and they're all different covers. This one here, I've already had the cover for this one, but yeah, that one is just too cool. It was really clean. It was a really nice, clean one. And it's on that purple, the little doggy there, speaking into the microphone. I think his name was Nipper. RCA Victor. And then I found this one. They were together, holding hands in the record bin, 38 cents a piece. Victory at Sea, and this one here has got Nipper on it too. On the back, the RCA Victor. This is our Victory at Sea Volume 2, the suite from the score composed by Richard Rodgers. Being the Navy man, I was not leaving that behind. This here was a promo. I have 2 copies of this, but they're not promos, they're UK. This one here is a USA promo of the same one I shown already when I was doing the C's of Clannad. We talked about Moya Brennan and Clannad. This is a white label promo of this, and I paid all of less than 40 cents for it. I wasn't going to leave Clannad behind. Clannad or Clannad. How about this one here? This one here was one of my picks of the day. I have 2 picks of the day. This is my number. This is my number 1 pick of the day. No, this is my number 2 pick of the day. How about Brian Auger's Oblivion Express for 38 cents? Find another one. Man, I love me some Brian Auger. I think I have 12 records by him, by Brian Auger. Just an incredible guitarist. Okay. How about Vince Gill? Now member of the Eagles. This song is called Cinderella. Some of you country folks out there will recognize this song. But found this at the... where did I find this one at? Anyway, I think it was at the Habitat, and it was $1. So I picked this one up. I checked it out on Discogs, and I'll put this one in the sale. And we'll let that one fly, Robin, fly. Got this one here, Clannad's Greatest Hits. This is one Clannad CD I did not have in my collection. I was glad to pick these up, and these are 99 cents at Goodwill. So I did pick up a couple things at Goodwill. This is my Tori Amos, her sophomore release, Under the Pink. I think I now have... Where to do my Tori Amos CDs? I think I got 8 copies. I think I got 8 copies of this now. But I just can't stop picking them up. There's Tori when she was just a youngster. And this is a great album. Just freaking fantastic. I don't even know how many times I've played this album. Oh, this is the pick of the day. Maybe the other. No, this one here is the pick of the day. I saw this record there. Take it out of this cover. I picked up the sleeve. I didn't know if Bip would like to see that one. Look at that, Bip. Look at that sleeve. Philadelphia Freedom. Elton John Band. The Elton John Band. I never heard him called the Elton John Band before. Produced by Gus Dungeon. Everybody remembers Philadelphia Freedom. And this is from 1975. I was just a junior in high school? Junior. And Philadelphia Freedom was all over the radio. Everybody was playing Philadelphia Freedom. But on the B side of this is what's cool. Elton John Band. I saw her standing there. Elton John Band live in Central Park with none other than the Beatle, John Lennon, is on this. Singing with Elton John. I saw her standing there. You can probably Google this and go on YouTube and see the video of them singing this on stage. I think John did more than one song with Elton. I could be wrong with that. Somebody correct me at the bottom. Tony, correct me at the bottom if you remember. If he did more than one song. But I have it now on 45, and it's going to sound really good. And I can't wait to play it. But this was anything with John on here, John Lennon, I'm all in. So, yeah. I was glad to find that there before somebody else realized what it was. It may have been passed over several times in there. But you got to know your records. When you go in... All good. So, yeah. So you got to know your records. That's for sure. You got to know them. And make sure when you go in and look in these places, whether it's Goodwill or Habitat or any of those places, that you look closely through all. Check if you're a CD guy, look through all the CDs. Take your time to go through them. Sometimes they're turned around backwards, so you got to go ahead and check them out. But just go through all the albums and make sure you check them out, flip them over, look inside. Sometimes people put other records inside those records. So let me check out Elton John here. No harm, no foul. Everything looks good. All right. Let's change this. Flip this record over. Okay, let's go through the 50 real quick. How about we stopped at Nectar, so we'll go ahead and pick up with Nectar. This is Through the Years, and what this is their first couple albums, I believe, and these were reissued on a best of. Then we have A Tab in the Ocean. This is an album that has the U.S. mix, and then it has another mix, has a remastered mix of the album. Nick Mason, Sorcerer Full of Secrets. This is when Nick went on the road a few years ago before the pandemic with, they're doing all the old stuff. If you haven't heard any of this or seen the DVD or Blu-ray of this, it's incredible. Nick Mason, Sorcerer Full of Secrets, and they do all those old songs from they start off with Interstellar, Overdrive, Astronomy Domain, Lucifer Sam, Fearless, Obscured by Clouds, Remember the Day, Arnold Lane, Vegetable Man, and it just goes on and on and on. They got Bike on here, See Emily Play, Sorcerer Full of Secrets, One of These Days. He does a great job of the old material. And if you want to see what Pink Floyd these days sound like with songs by Syd Barrett, then check out Nick Mason's Sorcerer Full of Secrets. If you get a chance, see him live. I'd love to see him live, but I've never had the opportunity where he's been close by me. And here's a Live at the Roundhouse, See Emily Play, Vegetable Man. This is a 45 RPM extended remix single from that album I just showed you. How about The Nights with Keith Emerson? This is his band before he joined Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Here's their second album they did, ARS, Longa Vita Brevis. This one here has America on it from West Side Story. This was a short-lived band, but they made about 3 or 4 records. Keith Emerson, of course. This is here is Elegy. And that's all I have of the nice. And then we have Tony Williams Lifetime Band. Tony Williams, a jazz drummer, died young. Here's the new Tony Williams Lifetime, Believe It. Here's the new Tony Williams Lifetime Band with $1 Million Legs. These are all jazz fusion records, people. They have a lot of them have Alan Holdsworth on them, and have other members of different Tony Newton, Tony Williams, Alan Holdsworth on these records. These records are incredible. You got to pick them up. This one here is a band called Nova. And this here is as Phil Collins has on here, and Robin Lumley, Percy Jones, all the Brand X people are on this album. So if you're into Brand X, you need to pick up Nova. This album here is called Vimana. Olivia Newton-John, one of her first albums, and this one here is says printed in the USA, but it's called If Not For You, still in the shrink, so it's a little difficult to see Olivia's beauty, but she's there. Here's Let Me Be There. You know, I love Olivia Newton-John. I love all my girls. Carly Simon, Olivia, Kate Bush, Tori Amos. The list goes on and on. Have you ever been mellow? Clearly Love. Don't Stop Believing. All her hits are on here. You could just get her great. I mean, if you wanted just to hear her greatest hits, she has a couple of those albums out too. If You Love Me, Let Me Know. What a great voice she had when she was young. Here's her greatest hits album. Totally Hot. Greatest Hits Volume 2. I think I've got my complete collection of, there isn't that many left I need to get. Here's the one that she made real famous, her album called Physical. Check out the videos on that. They're smoking. Here's Olivia Newton-John. This one here is a German release. Greatest Hits, but it's German. Here's Olivia, Soul Kiss. One of her later ones. We're getting to the end of Olivia here. Here's the album The Rumor. I was lucky to find this one. This is an 80s release, 88. And they didn't make a bunch of these. They made them for record companies, or the ones you used to go ahead, like you get 10 records for a penny, and then you had to buy one every month, or buy 2 every month for the next 6 years or something. Record clubs. That's how you got them. Or they got records back in the late 80s, early 90s, like if they were UK or German or something. But they did make a few US ones. This just happened to be one of the survivors right there. Olivia, Soul Kiss. This here is a 33 1/3, but it's a 40 extended play. We had those back then. I don't know if they still do those or not. Don't see as much. OS Ibiza. Asabisa? Since we're in the O's now, I have 2 of their records. This one here is Whoa Ya Ya. I love the artwork on there. I think they're Roger Dean. This one here is called Heads. And it kind of reminds me of like early Santana. How about Passport? Now we moved into the P's. We got quite a bit of P's. It's going to take us a couple days to get through the P's. Passport's a German fusion rock band, and they were just tight, and they were really good. With Klaus Doldinger. Man, I only got 3 or 4 of their records, but I have all the stuff on CDRs my friend John sent me, but I love Passport. My favorite album of theirs is probably Cross Collateral. This one here is called Infinity Machine. Anybody out there have any Passport records they don't want, just send them to me. How about Garden of Eden? Now we're going to start going down that rabbit hole, Pat Metheny. I think the rest of the records I'm going to show today are Pat Metheny. I got quite a few. Here we got Bright Size Life. And this album here has Jocko on it. He plays the bass. And Pat plays 6 and 12 string guitar. So Jocko's on this one. Still looking for Jocko's self-titled album if anybody has it out there. How about Watercolors? This is a Pat Metheny record. Not the group yet. Just Pat Metheny. Here all on ECM. Rob the Wax was talking about ECM. They sound really good. I've been listening to ECM records for over 40 years. Here's the Pat Metheny group, their first album together, with them guys I was talking to you the other day about. I was talking to you about Mark Egan and Danny Gottlieb, who are in that band called The Elements. So if you like Pat Metheny group, you need to listen to the band The Elements, because they have that's what Pat Metheny's group, what they did after they a side project. Here's Pat Metheny, New Chagua. Great album. These are all great. All those ones he did by himself, and then ones what he did with his group. American Garage, Pat Metheny group. 8081 live. This has Charlie Hayden, Jack DeJohnette, Dewey Redman, and Mike Brecker. As Falls Wichita, So Falls Wichita Falls. Probably one of my top 20 records of all time. This one here would fall into my top 20, which I need to make another top 20 list of my I'm gonna write this down. Top 20 records of all time. North Carolina Final Pickers top 20 records of all time. I'm 60. I'll be 65 this year. So that's a lot of records that I've listened to over the years since I was a youngster. So yeah, I'll have to really think about that one. I got to get through these 50 a day for 50 days first, and then I got about 4 shows lined up. So that's good. It's better than not having any ideas, I guess. If you get a chance to listen to this, when I send a copy of this to Proghat, I hope he still has it and loves it. Promotional copy not for sale. Pat Metheny. Here you go. As Falls, Wichita, So Falls, Wichita Falls. I got this in the mail. This is the one I showed you. I had a heartbreak because it was cracked when I got it. I got my money back, but I just keep it as a placeholder in case I ever find another one I could play. Here's Off Ramp, Pat Metheny Group, with Mark Egan, which is awesome bass player. Here's Travels Live. Pat was also on a couple of Joni Mitchell albums, Hajira and Don Juan's Reckless Daughter. Here's First Circle, Pat Metheny Group. Hissing of Summer Lawns, I think he's on that one too, with Jocko too. Falcon and a Snowman, this is a Pat Metheny Group doing a soundtrack for this movie here, Falcon and a Snowman. I don't think I've ever saw the movie, but how about Letter from Home? I found this one here close by, and it's a pretty rare record. This again was in the 80s. This one was what, 89? And they didn't make a lot of them back then, like we just talked about. But I found it close by. I think the guy had like $10 on it. It's like a $60 record. Couldn't believe it. Couldn't get it home fast enough. This one here's another one. Still Life Talking. This is another album from what's 87, and there's just not a lot of them around. They're mostly on CD. So if you're a Pat Metheny fan, look for those. This is an album that Pat did a couple of years ago called Far From Home, or From This Place. Sorry about that. This is a fantastic return for Pat Metheny. He's done a couple things since this, but this album here is really good. It's really ambient and guitar driven. How about Paul Moriat and his orchestra, The Blooming Hits? And you know, everybody knows I love this one. See, I got one right back there, and I got one right here. This makes number 2, and this makes number 3, and there's that. I have another one. There's number 4. And the reason I collect this is, look at that. That looks just like the '60s, man. If you're gonna look at your top 10 or top 20 records from the '60s with girls or guys or whatever, with all kinds of flower power and all that kind of stuff, that is the '60s there. I think it's just a cool cover, and whenever I find one in the wild, I pick it up, which isn't too often. But how about Patrick Moraz? Patrick Moraz, of course, played with Yes on Relayer, and then he started making solo albums. And this is the one he made. And I think that Bruford might be on this, or Chris Squire, or one, and Alan White maybe. But yeah, he made some really good albums. Keyboardist. He later went to play with the Moody Blues, and then they had a falling out, and then he left them, and then continued on making some solo records. And here's another Patrick Moraz album, Sphinx. These are all good records. They ain't gonna blow. I mean, it's not gonna blow you away or nothing, but they were good. They're a good record. This is Patrick O'Hearn, and the other day I was talking to you about Missing Persons. Patrick O'Hearn was the keyboard player for Missing Persons, and he made new age music. He was also in a band called Group 87, which you need to check out, with Peter Mayhew. Peter Mayhew and Patrick O'Hearn were in Group 87. But anyway, Patrick O'Hearn's records they're available. You find them for like $5. They're on the Private Music label, but you don't see them every day, that's for sure. And I think I have another one of his here. I have these on CD. I think some of these on CD as well. Between Two Worlds, Patrick O'Hearn. And this is all ambient, new age music. So if you're not into that type music, you probably wouldn't like. Here's another one. This is probably my favorite of his. River's Gonna Rise. But these are, kick back and smoke or drink, whatever you prefer, and just enjoy getting a little bit mellow, and then listen to some cool ambient music. Keyboard driven. That's it. That's a fresh 50. So that's all I got for today, and we ran it to 30 minutes again. Wow. I'll be back tomorrow. We're going to go ahead and do a deep dive into what I have here for as far as analog. Are they analog? Or are they not analog? Or are they digital? We're going to look into I think I got about 12 records here. I know the big controversy in the vinyl community and everywhere that people are talking about the MoFis and whether or not they're it looks like to me like they have a little bit of digital to them, which understandable. I think my take on it is because these tapes aren't getting any younger. These tapes are old, especially go back to old Led Zeppelin and stuff like that. How many times can you run those tapes? So at some point they probably had to digitize these tapes. How these tapes going to sound 200 years from now or 100 years from now? These tapes, they're not even going to exist anymore. They're going to disintegrate probably. And all you're going to have is digital left. If they keep redoing them, we'll all be long gone. But yeah, it's just we're just caretakers of these albums for now. Somebody else in the future will own all these albums. My albums, your albums, everybody's albums out there. They're all going, unless you're going to take them to the grave with you, they're all going to end up in somebody else's record collection someday. Somebody will rebuy them again, and then unless they get damaged in a flood or any other natural event. So anyway, think positive here. Positive is, that's what my buddy Pilmer always says. Give me a positive. So okay, well y'all take care out there. I've rambled on long enough, 32 minutes. God bless our troops. Y'all take care out there, and you have a safe weekend. It's Saturday night, and enjoy the summer heat, I guess. It's brutal here in North Carolina. It's like 100 degrees today. So stay in chill out in the air conditioning, and play some music, and look through your records and play some records. And maybe somebody will do a cool show tonight on the YouTube. I can watch somebody do a show tonight. Maybe Rachel will come on later. All right, well, take care, and we'll talk to you later. Have a good evening. Bye for now. Enjoy the weekend, and stay cool out there. Drink lots of liquids.